Hello and welcome to the United Stand. Europa League draw, Pereira leaves, boo-hoo. But big news, Robin Van Persie, Robin Van Persie is coming back for the return or the exit from Manchester United. I really do think that he deserved. But we've got loads to fly into as usual. Friday night, big game coming up tomorrow. Don't miss the watch along. But let's get into it. Lots to discuss. I hope you're all well, whether you're watching us live or not. Let me get this live comments box up first. Always very important. And to Darren, you know who you are on the live comments, calling me arrogant. I think that's really harsh, Darren. I'm not arrogant at all. Although I did bang my head kissing a beautiful person today. But no, seriously, I do like you, Darren. You remind me of when I was young and stupid as well. But on with the football. Manchester United. Where do I start? Love Robin Van Persie. Love Pereira. Andreas Pereira is going on loan to Grenada. I don't know what all you lot think about it. What I want to say is for the last two pre-seasons, he has been one of our standout players out of everybody in it. And people can say, let's talk this season because Van Gaal's history. People can say, it was only Wigan. It was only Wigan. Well, Bay played in that game and he played as good as he's been playing for the last few games in the first team in the Premier League. I think Pereira was ready to play in the Premier League. I think it's a bit of a cop-out. I do back the manager, but I think it is, you know what? Jose was very complimentary of him. He said he loves him and he's only going to Grenada to play games. I'll talk about that in a minute. But I think he was ready. I really do. I think it's a risk, but I think he was ready. And for those people who didn't watch that game, that pre-season game against Wigan, he came on in the second half. He ran the game. His passing was so sharp it was giving us all paper cuts. And to be honest, there's still a murder outstanding crime report in Wigan because he absolutely murdered that Wigan team on that Saturday a few weeks ago pre-season. He was brilliant. In a holding midfield position, which I didn't think he could play. He scored a good goal. He ran the game. Brilliant. I'm sad that he's gone. And we'll be coming on to the Europa in a bit because I think he could have played in the Europa as a holding midfielder. I really do. But it's gone. He's gone to Grenada and hopefully he will come back next season. Adam Lynch, a lot of the youth players are going on loan. Good for experience. Really hope they improve and come back. Yeah, good point, Adam. I think in the case of Borthwick Jackson, I am based in the Midlands. I do know a few Wolves fans. They've asked me about Borthwick Jackson. And I said, you know what? I think you need to play him every week and I think he will be a really good player. But he's got to play every week. He's got to do well. And I think that sort of grounding is good for Borthwick Jackson because I think Borthwick Jackson is 18 or 19. So he's got more time on his side. I'm sure Pereira is 21 or 22. That 2 years is really important. Pereira nearly went to Fulham. I wasn't happy about it. Championship football, I've seen it with Patrick Bamford, as I said before, at Chelsea. 2 seasons in the Championship, scoring loads of goals. Never got in the Premier League. Now where is he? That Pereira could have gone and done what, he could have played like Messi in the Championship. It's not the Premier League. He was good enough to get a Premier League loan. I don't know why it's not happened. Maybe nobody wanted him. I have concerns about going to Grenada. For me, La Liga is pub football, and what I mean by that is there are 2 or 3 very good teams in that league, and the rest of them are pretty substandard, below around the 6th team, of which Grenada is one of them. I don't, and also the league is not the Premier League, so even if he lights it up, it's not the Premier League. He's still got to come and prove himself in the Premier League. You know, if he does well for Grenada this whole season, is he going to be a first team player for United next year? I hope so. That's what I hope. I've got this horrible concern when it comes to Pereira that it might not work out, but fingers crossed it will. Should he have stayed and been part of the Europa League side? I don't know. I think he could have forced his way in, but I think Jose has been quite honest, which is great. And he's, because talking quickly about Schweinsteiger, he's basically said it's not impossible, but he's not got a very good chance because I've got my midfield sorted. Rightly or wrongly, Jose ranks Fellaini, Schneiderlin, Herrera, and Carrick ahead of Schweinsteiger. And funnily enough, I'm going to give Schneiderlin and Fellaini a night off. I think Carrick is 3 years older than Schweinsteiger. I'm a massive fan of Carrick, but even when we signed him last year, Schweinsteiger, everyone was like, "Oh, you love Carrick. What was your choice?" And I said, "I do love Carrick, but Schweinsteiger's better." I still stand by that. And Herrera, as much as I've backed Herrera, and a lot of us on this channel have backed Herrera, what has he done really in the last 2 years? He needs to step up to the plate massively. Hopefully Jose is good enough to do it. But I'm not really talking about Schweinsteiger. I'm talking about Pereira. I'm just concerned. But on a more positive note, Robin Van Persie returns to Manchester United. I'm not going to go over old ground with Van Persie. For me, he is a legend. It's not how long you're at a club. It's what you do in the... It's a life lesson. It's not how long you're here. It's what you do in the time you've got. And in the time Van Persie had at United, he single-handedly won us the league. I hear this nonsense from people now saying, we didn't win this the league single-handedly. What about Rio? What about Vidic? This, that and the other. If you watch that season back, no Van Persie goals, no title. And goals win titles, and he won it whilst Rooney was sulking on the bench. I'm not going to get into the whole Rooney debate. That's not a very good idea, is it? I mean, Rooney Van Persie, I would rather have kept Van Persie, but criticising Rooney is like baptising a cat, so it's not going to end nicely. I know a lot of people back Rooney, but Robin Van Persie left United last year because Van Gaal got rid of him, and there's a really good saying that I was thinking about today that is very, very important. Obviously, out of Van Persie and Van Gaal came out on top. But, war isn't about who wins. War just tells you who's... no, sorry, I got that wrong. War isn't about who's right. War just tells you who's left at the end. And Robin Van Persie was right, and Van Gaal was wrong, wasn't he? We should have kept Van Persie. But he will be coming back. As you always know, I love the club. I think they did do something on the website or anything like that, but Twitter's where a lot of us are at. And, we've had happy birthday to Ball Boys off the Man United Twitter account. We never even got a goodbye or a thank you from Van Persie. So I think, and most importantly, it is all about the fans. The fans never got a chance to say goodbye to Van Persie. And you know what? I think it's a great opportunity for us to do that. And he will get a lot of applause and it will be fantastic. I think it's I did tweet it out. I think it's the 20th of October, if I've got that right. Old Trafford, Thursday night. It's the one good thing that's come out of Europa League for me is that we will get to say a goodbye to Van Persie. It's put a smile on my face. I've been calling it the No Hope League. I see it as a punishment. I'd rather have finished 8th because I don't really want to be in it. People say we're being moody, Mark. But you know what, actually? I'm just being honest because from a United standpoint of view, we'll do watch-alongs for all the Europa League games. So, that's more watch-alongs. That's more interaction with you lot, which is what we love. So if you take Europa League out, we're going to be just having games weekend to weekend. So that is a big positive, is that we will get more games. But Louise O'Donoghue, Robin Van Persie is a legend for United. I agree with that. I know some people don't, but I think I definitely buy into the fact that it's not how long you're here, it's what you do in the time you've got. And he won us our historical 20th title, and he's a legend for me. You've got to be a legend. He won it single-handedly. Some of the goals he scored. What about that one against Villa? Bang, have it. So brilliant. Goblin666 says, I heard Robin Van Persie was joining Leicester. That would be typical, but at least he's still got to come and play at Old Trafford, and he will get the send-off anyway. But I'd heard Van Persie was looking for a move, so he might not be at Fenerbahce when that happens. So in relation to the Europa League draw, didn't do a live reaction. People were like, please do a live reaction. I was like, no, I don't want to do one. But Fenerbahce, Feyenoord, obviously Luke Shaw, he's come out and publicly said that it annoyed him that UEFA gave the man of the match to the person who broke his leg. We were disgusted at the time. We had a load of PSV fans coming on here, and that it was a bad challenge. Obviously Roy Keane famously said it was a good challenge. It wasn't a good challenge. It was a reckless challenge. Some United fans, again, defending a player of the opposition for some reason, saying, oh, he just tackles like Bailly. It was a scissor tackle. For anybody who plays football, it was a scissor tackle. It was an atrocious tackle. It was a dangerous tackle at somebody who's coming at you full pelt. And he should have been sent off. I stand by that. And it's nice to hear that Luke Shaw agrees. I thought it was a horrendous tackle. Never backed it. And but we'll go back there as well and play Feyenoord. Somebody said last night that you only play 3 games. It's not. It's 6. Which again is ridiculous. I mean, I cannot imagine... playing our first team in this. People say, well, how do you want to play about it? Well, that's 6 group games, and then it basically starts again after Christmas because third place teams from the Champions League group come into it. You end up with a load more teams, a massive group stage. I'm sure you've got to probably win about touching on 20 games just to win a place in the Champions League, which we're going to get anyway this season. We're going to finish in the top 4. So all we're going to play 20 games for is a massive risk, because you're probably going to have to play somebody decent in the knockout stages or the final to win a Tin Cup, a second-rate European Cup. I want us to be playing, and this is a very good point, which I throw to you. It was PSV. What's Luke Shaw talking about then? You know what? When I said we're playing Feyenoord, and we are playing Feyenoord, aren't we, in the Europa League? I was wondering why Luke Shaw was talking about that today, and I just put 2 and 2 together and came up with 6. I apologise for that, but it was still a bad tackle. Paulie says, win Europa League and we're in the Champions League. That's a flawed argument for me, Paulie, because, and I'm not being arsey, I'm not like that at all with any of you lot, but what I'm saying is, we're going to play 20 games to get a place in the Champions League when we can just finish 4th and get in the Champions League anyway. 4th will be a disappointment to me, be a massive disappointment to the United players and Jose anyway. We're going to finish at least 2nd this season. So the only reason to go for the Europa League is to win that trophy, but I just don't think it's worth it for 20 games. Up to you lot. But what we want to do in the Europa League is more important. Some people want us to play our best team. One of my mates today, as a United fan, was saying, I think Jose will go all out for it. He'll play the big players in it. I've said this so many times on the show. Every team, British team, that's been in the latter stages of the Europa League, their league form suffers hugely. We can't afford for that. We can't afford to jeopardise the league on a. I mean, imagine next March we're head to head with City, going for the league. We're up the top. Then the group stage for Europa League on a Thursday night kicks in. Tough games because it always is in Europe. We're not the British teams aren't the team they were in Europe as a few years ago. So every group stage knockout is going to be a real challenge. We start to lose points in the league. We get all the way to the final. You play somebody like, I don't know, Juventus or something like that. Probably wouldn't be Juventus, would it? But Sevilla, someone like that, and you lose. We look back at it and go, what a stupid idea it was to try and win the Europa League. We're already in the Champions League, finishing 2nd anyway. It's only a second-rate European Cup. We've blown our chance of going for the league. That is my concern, and that's what happens to every English side in relation to their league form when they get to the latter stage of the Europa League. What I would want to see happen is to use this massive squad of experienced players that we've got, because as Carrick fan, funnily enough, is saying there, play the likes of Carrick. We're probably the disappointing thing for me with the amount of youth we've got ridden, like Borthwick, Jackson, Wilson, Pereira on loan. They're our sort of players I would like to see play in the Europa League. When you look at what we've got left, I know a lot of people are thinking, oh, he's going to play the youth. I don't think he will play the youth in the Europa League, because who is he going to play? Twansibi, hopefully, maybe, but anybody else other than that, I just can't see him. He's going to play Gribbin or Roshan Williams. I don't think he's going to play those sort of players. What I think would happen, off the top of my head, you'd have Romero in goal. You'd have maybe Darmian and or a new signing. You'd have Rojo at left back, Jones and Smalling, probably centre backs. Carrick in the midfield with Herrera. Number 10 maybe Mata. Out on the right, Lingard or Young. And on the left, Memphis, and up front, Rashford. It's a good team. It's an interesting team to watch, but that's the way I think he'll go. It is a good enough team to go and do well in Europe, because it's a very first team experienced, our second 11 team. That's the way it'll go. I don't think he's going to play much youth, which I think is a bit of a shame, but I still think we'll put us a good team out. What I don't want to see is the likes of Pogba and Zlatan and Rooney and even the likes of Mkhitaryan and whoever our first choice centre backs are and right back and Luke Shaw. I don't want to see them playing in it, because they almost need to be being kept fresh for the league. The league is the most important thing for me. Name your starting 11 for the Europa, says the United Strand, which I've just done. That team can win, says Bio. I think it can actually. No one had read it back. Lewis Smith just said that team is good enough to win the Europa League. It is. It's a very experienced team. I would like to see a bit more youth in it. I don't think we will. Jones and Blind centre-back, says Nerdfire. Well, at the moment, Blind is in the first team, isn't he? That's why I said Smalling. I mean, that will change, I'm sure. But Lingard is 23. How is that youth, for God's sake? I didn't say he was youth. Ubisoft Europe. I've never said that Lingard's youth player. He came through the youth system. Fosu Mensah and Fosu Mensah and Rashford. But as I keep saying, they are youth players, but I don't class them as what Jose's got to do to prove everybody wrong about promoting youth. He's got to promote his own youth players. They were promoted by Van Gaal, and I consider them first team players. But I do want to see more of Fosu Mensah. I'd love to see him in the first team. Abdul thinks we'll meet Inter in the Europa final. Remember, there's a load of teams that are decent that will come down from the Champions League into it at the moment. It's not just everybody who's there. Okay, could Europa League allow us to try out more team combinations and find the perfect equilibrium, says Wackle. Yeah, good. I mean, it will give games to people who aren't getting games at the moment. I'm specifically thinking about the likes of Memphis. Lewis McCann, Mark, what are your thoughts on the FA Cup? I would personally, I'll throw this to you lot, I would personally rank the FA Cup as more important this season than the Europa League. I think the Europa League is all about what our reserves, our second 11 can do. They've got to go out and prove themselves. I don't want to see the first team involved in that really. The FA Cup, I do want to see the likes of Zlatan and Pogba involved in that. I want us to win the FA Cup. I want us to retain the FA Cup. So that's where I'm at. I don't know what you lot think. I'll wait for some of yours. Mark, what score tomorrow? I think 3-0. I think I went for 3-1, Mark 79. What's the latest on Fabinho, says Liam Hardy. I still think it will happen, although Jose has come out and said he's happy with what he's got. So it's a bit 50-50 at the moment. Maybe we don't want to play the money. We'll have to just see. Was there anything else I wanted to say before we move on to the next thing? No, we've covered all that. Blind will get done by City, says JD Gaming 123. Mark, would you swap Jones for Fonte? We've discussed that a while. I think I would. Fonte's better, but the thing about Fonte is he's 33 in December. Why buy somebody who's going to be a fourth choice centre back? Because Blind, Smalling, and Bay are better. I'd rather we went and saw. Mustafi's going to Arsenal. I'd have spent 25 million on him because he challenged what we've got. That's what I always want to see. When we sign players, I always think that they should challenge what you've already got, and I don't think Fonte does. Even Fabinho would challenge Valencia. That's what you want. I don't like buying backup players, if I'm honest. It doesn't fit in with the United way for me. Disappointed about Barbosa, Mark. Lewis Connell, good point. I did mean to mention him. He's gone to Inter yet again. Serie A teams getting good value South American forwards. 25 million euros, so that's about 20 million pounds. Somebody said, oh, you don't know anything about him. You only watched him in the Olympics. I didn't watch him in the Olympics. I know about him from before. I didn't watch the Olympics apart from the final in relation to football. I think it would have been a good signing. I think for that price, very good. But, yeah, I am a bit disappointed. But, you can't have everything, can you? Categor HD says, how is Fonte fourth choice? There's two centre-backs. Well, okay, I'll explain it to you. You've got Bailly, number 1. You've got Blin, number 2. You've got Smalling, number 3. And then Fonte, number 4. That's 1, 2, 3, fourth choice. That's where I would put him out of the 4 centre-backs we would have if we signed Fonte. So he'd be fourth choice for me as a centre-back. So why sign somebody like that? Lozano, Gavin O'Brien, I would love us to sign him. It's gone very, very quiet. I would love us to sign Lozano. Very attacking, hard-working, skillful player. Just went dead, didn't it? The rumours about that really went dead. We don't need Barbosa, says Josh Fricker. Starting 11 for tomorrow. Glad you asked that, Vahan. My starting 11 for tomorrow is De Gea in goal, Valencia right back, Luke Shaw left back, Bay and Blind centre backs, Fellaini holding the midfield, Pogba box to box, Rooney number 10, Martial on the left, Zlatan up front, and I think he'll play Mkhitaryan on the right. That's what I think Jose will play. It's not my team, I wouldn't play that, but that's what I think Jose will do. One change, Mata out for Mkhitaryan, and I think it's the right change to make. Mkhitaryan's got to play this game. He's got to play this game, because if he doesn't play, he's not going to start him against City, and he should be starting for that. We need to be moving towards our best 11, and for me, we're still 2 or 3 positions off our best 11, because those people are playing well. But I think, I would still have Smalling as a centre-back, and I would have Mkhitaryan on the right, 100%. I'm not convinced about Rooney as a 10 either, but he's not going to get dropped. In fact, Rooney's got a very good scoring record against Hull, so maybe he'll play. Lingard out, joke of a player, says Ubisoft Europe. I think Smalling and Mickey will start tomorrow. I don't think Blind should be dropped. I don't think he deserves to be dropped, and I don't think he will be dropped. Hope Mkhitaryan gets in, says John Fleming. Yeah, okay. Okay, I think we've covered everything. So, sad to see Pereira going off on loan. We'll be watching him with great interest. He's got to play every week. What about... let's have a look. Obviously, we've got the Van Persie coming back. I think that's really exciting, isn't it? And we've also got... the Europa League to look forward to or not. But the main thing to look forward to is real football is back tomorrow. Premier League football is back tomorrow against Hull City. Obviously, we do the watch along, so join us for that. We will be on, was it 5:30 UK kick-off time? So we will be live at 4:30. Join us for that, for the watch along. You're a massive part of that. The live comments is a massive part of that, so get involved. Can't wait, really excited. And I tell you what, we'll win tomorrow and we'll go into the international break with 9 points, which is absolutely fantastic. And then we've got the end of the transfer window, and then we've got, after the international break, City. And on the international break, over 4 nights, you've got the story of the United stand. That's going to be very interesting. But thanks everybody for watching. Friday night show. I know not everybody can. I'm just going to leave you with a few words of wisdom. I think somebody said, "Can you start doing this?" Because I have done it in the past. They liked my thing a few weeks ago that I said about Van Persie, which was quite fitting. You know, it's not how long, it's not what you do in life or how long you do it. It's what you do in the short time you've got. I got that one wrong, but I've got a better one for you to finish up on, and that is this. If at first you don't succeed, bungee jumping is not for you. Speak to you tomorrow. The watch along, 4:30 UK time, live. Team news, chat. We'll also be getting the final scores coming in as well, won't we, at that time? But we're live straight away with the team news. Join us for the watch along. Thanks everybody for watching, and speak to you all tomorrow. Thanks for watching.